Well, good afternoon and welcome to Pretty Petty Politics. I am here with my city councilwoman, Abbie Kamin,
Hi.
attorney Abbie Kamin, who is seeking election to the Harris County Attorney's Office.
I am
How you feeling?
really good,
Really good?
really good. And it's a beautiful day.
It is.
And actually, when I was coming over, I don't know if we're allowed to share our location.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. But one, we're in my district
Yeah.
that I get to represent,
Yeah.
so that makes me very happy. Although I am running not just to continue to represent current constituents, but all of our constituents.
Yeah, the whole county.
The whole county. But we're actually right in front of Olivewood Cemetery.
Yes.
And it's Black History Month.
Yes.
So pulling up, I got a little.
She texted me, she was like, Olivewood? I was like,
yeah. Little just of inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of history in that cemetery.
First incorporated African-American cemetery in the city.
Yeah.
10 years after emancipation.
Yeah.
So 1875. But I don't know if you know about the Descendants of Olivewood.
No,
and the work
tell
they've been
us.
doing. Okay, so the Descendants of Olivewood is the nonprofit board that it cares for.
So I contacted them after the retro.
Yes.
Because it was horrible the next day.
Oh, it was,
Yeah.
awful. Were you able to contact them?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So they're just an incredible group of volunteers. Many of them are descendants of people laid to rest there. And for listeners who don't know about Olivewood, not only is it the first incorporated African-American cemetery, but it's where many of the first formerly enslaved people were buried. So the history here, and remember, right, what Freedmanstown used to be was a lot bigger, right? We were just yesterday, I was doing a proclamation with Antioch.
Okay.
For their 160th anniversary.
That's the oldest black
church in
Houston.
Right.
Yeah.
Reverend Yates. And we talk about like it's downtown, but it wasn't downtown. It was Fourth Ward Freedmanstown.
Yeah.
But you had all the redlining. And so this cemetery, same thing. You've seen all this development come about. And it's right on I-10 and the bayou. So one of the risks, there's historical preservation needs, and we volunteer. Like I do everything I can to help them. They're an amazing group, but we're having a lot of issues with bayou erosion as well. So you have the development coming in, and then you have the bayou erosion plus I-10 with TxDOT with the expansion. And when TxDOT was coming in, not just Friends of Olivewood, but the entire neighborhood has really galvanized to support the cemetery and Friends of the Cemetery. And we kept pushing with TxDOT. We're like, this is an opportunity to get remediation for the erosion. And we have not successfully gotten there yet, but we're going to continue to push and continue to elevate the needs and the history because it is so precious. It is so precious. And
yes, it is.
Again, especially around Black History Month, I think it's really important to talk about those things that are so Houston that make us who we are.
Like this, I'll say this neighborhood, this community, I would say from I-10 to West Gray, that's like old Houston. Like that's OG Houston, like original Houston. The Allen brothers, when they pitched their tent on the bayou, the founders of Houston, who named it Fort Sam Houston. Like this is the epitome of Houston.
We have like some of the oldest infrastructure. Yeah. So I represent the most repetitively flooded areas pretty much in the region, but also the oldest infrastructure from Montrose to where we are right now. And then remember, Heights as well used to be its own incorporated township, and then was incorporated into Houston, but that's old school blue collar. Like those bungalows are very, very, very old. My great grandparents actually lived in one of them. The bungalows still there on Harvard Street. And when my great uncle was still living, he passed just a few years ago. We took him around and he told us all about the immigrant community there. And it was along Washington Avenue. Jewish and Italian immigrants. And there's a story because Jewish immigrants, my great grandfather didn't speak English, he spoke Yiddish, didn't know how to read. And a lot of anti-Semitism, a lot of hate that we still see today.
He experienced.
The KKK came into my great grandfather's store to rough him up and damage the store. he handed it to them, but he was the one arrested for standing up to them.
Oh,
so
wow.
a lot of history, and many families have their stories,
Mhm.
right? But this is a very special place.
It is. It is. I was just talking about Camp Logan yesterday, and discover every year I look at Camp Logan in August, and I look at it in Black History Month to learn something new. So I have my assignment for spring break. I'll tell y'all about it later. I cannot talk about it on this episode because I have to talk
we can talk Camp Logan too, because there's some important legal action.
Oh, okay. But I can't tell them
that's fair.
What I have planned for spring break because I got to do it and then share.
Okay. That's fair. So I grew up down the street from Memorial Park.
Okay.
Never knew the history of Camp Logan, didn't know why it was called Memorial Park, never knew about the 24th Infantry. Wow. And that's the story for many Houstonians. We don't know our history, which is why I'm so passionate about it. But it was this incredible collaboration with South Texas College of Law, NAACP, Buffalo Soldiers. And we were very, very supportive of the clemency action and largest clemency in U.S. military history. To address the just abhorrent.
It's the largest trial in U.S. history.
Right, with one attorney representing all of the Black soldiers. I mean, again, I'm preaching to the choir, but what we've done, Memorial Park Conservancy is actually creating a new space in the park that honors and recognizes, one, it creates more green space that's user friendly, but it also recognizes that history. And one of the things I'll tell you here, we haven't done a big public announcement, but we've actually, my office is funding a special monument to the 24th Infantry that's going to be a part of the park.
Where's it going to be? Is it going to be
with Memorial Grove? So the new piece that's opening,
the new piece,
it's going to be part of that. And
that's so awesome.
I'm so excited that and again, the Conservancy has done a great job. Every year we honor the 24th Infantry, and they do walking tours, things like that to educate people, but we're going to have a permanent space for it. That I think is really important, especially right now. We're seeing the whitewashing, the erasure of history. Our history. And we have to do everything we can to make sure that we are the protectors and the guardians of that.
Yes. And I love that. And I know part of this passion that you have is because you're a civil rights attorney.
We are
off track.
We are so off track.
We're going to get to it. But let me ask you the icebreaker. Even though that was the icebreaker, I have to ask this question. Because I asked everybody. It's a pretty petty politics tradition. Tell me about your first time voting or a memorable time voting.
So my daddy took me to vote at Hunters Creek Elementary when I was a little girl. I don't know about how old I was, but it was my first time in a polling location. And I remember how amazing it was. I was fascinated with the process of voting. And just as a little girl at an elementary school where, I played on the playground but my daddy taught me about our democracy, and that I was sold.
You were sold.
I was sold as a little girl on American democracy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I think many of us have those experiences when we go to vote for the first time. We first get that I voted sticker when we were a kid. Just our parent or some relative has taken us to the polling location.
And every single election, whether it's a primary or a general or a special, I take my little boy with me. And I always tell parents, are you taking a kid? Teach them.
That's what the stickers are really for.
Yeah. And he gets his sticker, and we have a whole line in our house of all of our voted stickers.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, attorney and Councilwoman Abbie Kamin. So let's talk about it. Civil rights. What inspired you? Because when we go to law school, we're just taking these classes. We can take some electives. What made you select civil rights as your path of practice?
So I think it was a culmination of things. I was going to law school to study environmental law. Climate change, and rewinding for a second. My first day of college was evacuation day for the city of New Orleans during Katrina.
Oh.
Moving day into the dorms was evacuation day.
Oh, wow.
And we got out, took some students with us actually back to Houston. And then my mom has a charity, had a charity, and was in an Astrodome setting up for the evacuees from the Superdome. So I relieved her early morning hours, like 5 a.m. I don't even remember, as the first buses were coming in. And that changed me forever. Okay. Like I got clear.
Is that what, 04 or 05?
2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, August.
Yeah.
August. I got very clear that the failure of government at every level, and that people were left to die because they were poor and Black. And also this was made worse because of climate change. So I got very involved in climate action in college, but fast forward to law school. So I'm going to, be a champion of climate change, which I still am. But this was also around the time when the DOJ was being gutted, the Civil Rights Division was being gutted. And one of my professors used to be the head of the Civil Rights Division. And I was a legal intern at the DNC. Okay. As they were just opening up the voter protection division, because we started to see all of these discriminatory, we've always seen discriminatory laws, but it was becoming more aggressive. So the DNC during the election stood up this voter protection department. So I was like, let's check out what this is. I'm taking these civil rights courses in law school. And lo and behold, Shelby County versus Holder comes out. 2013. Comes out. And we see the gutting of the Voting Rights Act, Section 5. And it's important for people to remember, yes, there was a Civil Rights Act, but that was more symbolic. It didn't have the teeth that the Voting Rights Act had. And the Voting Rights Act had teeth because of preclearance. Yes. You couldn't pass a law in a state with a history of discrimination without getting permission, either from a court or the Department of Justice. So Supreme Court says, no more discrimination, nothing to see here. Congress, you need to update this equation on who's covered by it if you want it.
Then voter ID laws popped up everywhere.
Then we had voter ID law. So that is really how I started to focus more on civil rights, and the fact that Houston and Texas are ground zero for that fight. All of the discriminatory laws, the fights. I mean, we're still ground zero today. We're seeing what's happening, right? So that really influenced me. But I've always been in love with campaigns. I've always been in love with government. One of my favorite law school classes was administrative government, the Administrative Procedures Act. Like I'm just a nerd for that type of stuff. Just government operation. Yes. So, yeah.
I love it. Now you can go back and get an MPA and be that JD MPA. I mean, I did it in the reverse. I did the MPA first and then the JD, but yeah. Well, so tell me, what's your most explosive experience or most memorable experience as a civil rights attorney, and how would that help build your profile if you become county attorney?
I don't know if something helped builds a profile, but I'll tell you what had the most, one of the most impacts for me. We were a part of the litigation that challenged the state's voter ID law, Veazey v. Abbott. And I'm so thankful to have Congressman Veazey's support in my campaign as well. Yes, and he was redrawn out. I want to be like, he is an incredible human being at the forefront of a lot of fights.
He was District 33, right? CD 33.
I'm drawing. I think,
but
so we during involved in that challenge, and the court had ruled it's a modern day poll tax, basically. We won against Abbott. But during all that work, I worked on a documentary trying to convey to an everyday person the challenges that this discriminatory law put on people, not just in terms of the right to vote, but just day to day. Like, what happens if you can't get your photo ID, and how difficult is it really? And so I took on different clients to help them get their photo ID. And we went through the process together. And it was so infuriating. Like, I get emotional about it because it was so infuriating. Just seeing people that couldn't get an ID, like legally were precluded from getting a photo ID, and at the same time being able to help people as well. And it was that one-on-one community engagement that I think is so important at every level. And in the county attorney's office, it's the individual lives that you have an impact in. In the other case, I was at the Anti-Defamation League. I was the associate regional director of the Southwest region. So did hate crime and hate incident intake throughout the state, was in charge of our interfaith coalitions, government affairs, all of that. But there was this federal lawsuit going on. This is during child separation under Trump 1.0. And I was very outspoken about child separation, as I am now. But there was a case, Flores, where we were challenging child separation. And so attorneys from across the country were tapped to go into child detention centers to interview the children.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm going to get emotional. And I said I wouldn't get emotional. I was one of the only attorneys here in Houston to get into one of the child detention centers. And these kids, like, they just wanted a hug. They just wanted, like, literally, little Rose says, "Can I just have a hug?" And asked me that. And the trauma, the inhumane way in which we were treating these children was just horrific. And I still keep a list of the names of the children that I interviewed, because I quietly afterwards, again, we were just supposed to be monitoring. But I then on my own started to work to try to get the kids connected with family members and out. But I swore I wouldn't forget those kids. So I keep that list.
You keep that with you?
Yeah.
Wow. Whew.
Intense.
It is, especially because what came to mind as you were telling me that was just last week with Congressman Castro and Congresswoman Crockett doing something very similarly at Dilley.
Yeah.
You know, and the conditions that those children are in, and it's unimaginable.
Yeah.
But it's
imaginable.
Right.
And we know
it's happening.
And I said at council today, you know, people keep saying, well, why do you keep talking about this issue? It's in Minnesota or Chicago. One, I have very dear friends in Minnesota, elected officials, and the stories I am hearing are horrific. U.S. citizens, legal status immigrants, or undocumented immigrants. It doesn't matter. Human beings. And I continue to say, like, this is not, what we're seeing is not about public safety.
Right.
And it's actually creating a larger public safety risk. It is putting local law enforcement in danger. It is putting communities in danger. It is forcing people into the shadows that we need to serve as witnesses in criminal cases, right? With domestic violence. Domestic violence victims, survivors are not able to come forward. But at Dilley, right, there's the measles outbreak. But I want to let everyone know there's been reports. New warehouse was just purchased in San Antonio for expanding capacity. It's happening all over the country. And again, when people say, well, not Houston, no, we all have a responsibility and obligation. This is Texas. This is our own backyard. Little children are being sent here, and our governor is allowing that, right?
It's violating the 14th Amendment. Any person.
There's so many due process issues around what's happening. But again, like, we're so grateful for the advocacy of our congressional delegation, and, you know, getting Liam and his dad out. But there's so many others that are still there. So many others
who are suffering, who need that hug, who need medication, who may need therapy, like, unimaginable.
And again, these aren't people with criminal records. That's what I want to be clear about. This is not a public safety issue, we're creating a greater issue. And there's no question that our immigration system needs to be reformed. But what we're seeing is not that. What we're seeing is xenophobia, racial profiling, and we're losing what makes our country so special. So Dilley is one, but everyone needs to be on the lookout for additional facilities that are opening. Absolutely. And, you know, one of the things that, well, it's the federal government, but for localities, you still have to have occupancy permits. Yes. You still have to have health and safety inspections through the fire marshals and things like that. And that is something that we need to remember is how do we use the tools that we have?
I had Danny Norris last night, and it was going across the screen. I'm like,
we're technical.
That's not Danny. This is Abbie. So I'll fix that in a second. You got it?
I got it.
What's wrong with my typewriter? There. Go ahead.
See, and just so listeners know, we're going old school today.
Yeah, we don't have a producer today.
Abbie Kamin.
So as you're typing that, tell me
multitasking.
Tell me about your why. Why are you looking to become our county attorney now?
Yeah.
Besides the fact that our now congressman is the former county attorney, and so he left the role to become our member of Congress. But why now? Like, why county attorney not go back? Why not go back into private practice and make all the money?
Yeah. It's never been about the money for me. You know, ask my husband. But
girl, you have to tell me. I chose higher ed.
Right. Right. I've loved serving on city council. I was the youngest woman to ever be elected to council, first woman to be pregnant while serving. We have a lot of fierce moms, so I don't want, you know, we have a great group. I passed and championed the first paid parental leave and prenatal wellness policy for all city employees. Worked on something as what seems like a little bitty contract, but was actually a contract awarded for tire retreading for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Well, why'd they get the bid? It's a standard procurement process, which is also at the county. But you go with the lowest bid. Well, TDCJ gets the lowest bid. Why? Because they use unpaid prison labor, form of modern day slavery. Texas is one of only 3 states, I think, in the nation that still allows this. And I stopped the contract. And we've written language into contracts to now prevent that from happening in the future. So things as little as that, or things as big as, like, you know, policy that will change people's lives and lead the way. But I got so sick and tired of seeing the attacks that we're seeing, seeing the attacks on local government, how the Montrose Crosswalk, that's in District C. You know, I posted an Instagram photo celebrating that we got it restored, and, you know, state rep out in the middle of nowhere tweets it to, like, I think libs of TikTok and the governor. So the governor then issues his order statewide.
Yeah.
Right. The attack on local control, and not having the tools to protect constituents the way that I want to fight for what we believe in. 2 days before I filed, there was another fire at this horrific slumlord apartment complex.
I've seen that.
Life of Jackson. And again, 2 days before I filed, I'm rushing over to the Red Cross shelter, and I'm talking with grandparents who say that their grandbabies ran back into a burning building to wake them up because the fire alarm didn't go off. And the city's already filed a Chapter 125, which is an action focused on public safety only, right? You have to take calls for service, all this stuff, and then file, but it's not on health and safety. It's not on consumer protection. And I was just tired of not being able to do more and hold people accountable. So when the seat opened up, I really took a hard look at this. And yes, I'm term limited, but again, it's such an honor to represent District C. But I keep telling people, I'll still get to represent you. It'll just be in a bigger capacity with more tools in the tool belt. And I work very closely with our commissioners at Commissioners Court. We work very closely with Harris Health on programs. We all work together, and this is an opportunity to make an even bigger
impact.
Difference.
Yeah. So what issue did you see under the Menifee administration that you would like to build upon or expand or continue to work in as a priority?
Yeah. So I want to say at the outset, I think now Congressman Menifee, my congressman,
we haven't had in 11 months.
What the hell?
11 months.
And as a district C council member, you work with your congressional delegation to get federal allocations.
Yes.
And yes, there's been CRs, so we haven't seen that funding. But when you don't have a congressperson, you can't get those dollars.
Yeah.
I can't get the quiet zone funding that I need. I can't get supportive funding for the critical services. So we're very grateful that he's there, and he did a heck of a job as county attorney, really creating this dynamic office.
Culture. Yeah.
And
it was a slept on agency, if you will.
Little known, and it's still very little known,
Yeah.
but it is at the intersection of everything. You're not just you are the attorney for all the commissioners and the judge. You're the attorney for all county employees, all departments.
You're the defense attorney and the civil attorney.
Correct. But you're also the attorney looking out for the people of Harris County.
Yes.
And that's proactive and defensive. And we know that Harris County is under attack.
Yes.
And we haven't even talked about election takeover and threats, right? But so he's done a great job. County Attorney Fonbaum, who's in the interim role, is doing a terrific job. There's things I want to build on.
Highly skilled. The interim as well.
He's terrific. The whole team there is great. They have a great team. Some of the things I'll talk about that are little known in the county attorney's office, they're like the more wonky things. Because of course, absolutely environmental protection continues to be one that we will build on and be aggressive on. And when it comes to, I was just speaking with residents out in Pasadena, in neighborhoods, like title theft is real. Like it is a very real issue for property owners. But we also need rental protection, right? There's some test balloons I want to send up when we talk about multifamily housing and slumlords. Like how can we be more aggressive there?
Okay.
I want to stand up more online interaction portal where people can submit more types of claims and inquiries.
Like a 311 online.
Sort of, with more. And that's and we have some of that already in the county attorney's office with, for example, price gouging. Right. When they will stand that up. But I think we can expand that. But when I worked at the state legislature, I was a committee director and clerk for the State House Human Services Committee. And this was at the time of it's still a foster care crisis, but it was a declared crisis. And we had Judge Jack's ruling that it was, the system is unconstitutional. There's abuses, there's all these issues. And Judge Jack, just so everyone knows, has been this incredible stand for children and social workers in the system. And the state basically just removed her from the case, which is unprecedented, because she was holding DFPS's foot to the fire, about accountability. So the county attorney's office actually represents the state of Texas in all CPS and APS cases in Harris County. And again, as an attorney, it's your job to represent your client, but that doesn't mean you have to accept the status quo. And I want to focus a little bit more on that division, empowering our attorneys when it comes to what's in the best interest of the child, implementing some more efficiencies that will also support not just the kids, but the ad litems and other parties to the case, while again working with your client CPS to say, hey, you know what, we're not going to do this way right now. We're going to focus on what is in the best interest of the child, which is under law what you're supposed to do.
That's what your duty is.
And so there's a lot to unpack there, and I know we're short on time, but that's one of those kind of.
So CPS, environment,
slumlords, consumer protection, slumlords. But it's also the business of the county, and I want to make sure that people understand that, because being a council member, I've been on the other side of it, where your attorneys are either overwhelmed and not pushing stuff through. And like when a contract doesn't go through, those are services you're trying to provide for the district, whether it's infrastructure and flood mitigation, or whether it's things like, for example, we're funding additional health inspectors for apartments, or I just launched the most comprehensive firearm injury dashboard in the nation, which has never been done before.
Oh, wow.
But we had to have MOUs and contracts done with all the level 1 trauma centers in TMC. If y'all think government politics is crazy, healthcare politics, whole nother world. But we were able to secure those contracts. All level, there's 3 level 1s. And so we're all sharing that data now. That's a whole other, maybe I can come back and talk about firearm safety.
That is huge. I want to hear more about it.
You can go to houstonhealth.org/SafeWatch.
Okay.
The program's called SafeWatch Houston. It's publicly accessible data.
If someone types that in the comments, I'll share it on the screen.
Yeah. But I know what it's like when contracts aren't moving and programs aren't moving. And I know how important it is to be reviewing policies to protect them, because the county is making progress.
Yes.
They are doing some incredible, innovative things, and then the state's coming in and trying to stop it. And so you need an attorney that understands how those contracts work, understands how to work with terms, understands all these different levels and layers of government to keep the business of the county moving and keep these projects going. And we haven't even touched on state interference, not just with elections. Look, they're coming after the flood control district. They want to create a regional cog like HGAC, which I used to serve on. And that's a whole other story. But they want to take our county flood control dollars, our tax dollars, and create a regional cog where we're sending dollars out. We've already seen the diversion of funds through the GLO. Remember, $0 for Houston, Harris County, Harvey recovery dollars.
He's talking about P. Bush.
Yeah.
When he was GLO. Yeah.
And HUD found it to be discriminatory. I testified alongside then Mayor Turner and Commissioner Ellis to our congressional hearing here on the discriminatory nature of that diversion of funds. And HUD agreed. Well, just a few weeks ago, DOJ and HUD said, "Oh, nothing to see here anymore. It's cool." So
elections have consequences.
Yeah. So again, there's a lot to unpack within one of the most unknown but most dynamic offices in the 3rd largest county in the country that is ground zero for many of the fights, but also many of the needs.
Many of the needs.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I know you have to run.
I wish I could.
I know.
This is fun.
This is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy you're here.
No, thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank
this
you.
Is Shiro, Superwoman here. I don't know how you do it all, but we find a way.
I take naps.
That sounds nice.
I take naps.
I caffeinate.
You caffeinate. I caffeinated today. Yeah. But it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Tell the people where they can learn more about your campaign and.
So again, I'm so just profoundly moved by the coalition that we put together and the incredible support that we have in this race and what we're standing for and fighting for and believe in. You can go to abbiekamin.com to learn more. It's ABBIEKAMIN.com. And I appreciate just the time and the conversation.
Absolutely.
And it's not just, we got to dive into some pretty amazing things that hopefully listeners or viewers often don't get to learn about.
And it shows a little bit more about you and your experiences. Because when we see you up on that horseshoe at City Hall, we don't get all of this.
It's a little bit more intense.
Yeah, we don't get it like this. So I want to thank you. Thank you for serving on City Council, and best of luck to you in this campaign. Election Day is in April.
So
no, y'all are on this ballot.
Yeah, so
March
it's a Democratic primary. So early vote starts February 17th. Election Day is March 3rd. And for all of our District C viewers, we are still
it's District C that's April.
Okay. April special election that will, because there's so many candidates, it will likely go into May. First time I ran was with 13 people in the race. It is a very busy, engaged, incredible district, but there's so many incredible places around Harris County, and it's very exciting to get to engage with a much broader constituency that is so proud. They're so proud of their communities, and they should be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you again. And thank you all for viewing. Join us this evening at 6:30 with former Houston Mayor Anise Parker, who is a candidate for Harris County Judge. That is tonight at 6:30. And tomorrow we will have Letitia Plummer, I think at 7:30, who is also a candidate for Harris County Judge. And before we go, I always have an ask. Make sure you support the Houston Civics and Leadership Campaign School.
Right there.
Oh, right there.
Do
it. All right. Well, you all have a wonderful afternoon and try to get a nap. See you later.